I thought you'd be talking about the big story with the death of the Pope yesterday. You're in Rome. You're right there, right?
Yeah, that was just, introduction. I'm not in Rome. I'm slightly closer to Rome than you are.
Okay. Um,
But yeah, let's go. Let's forget about it. That for me was almost a non talking about. I just wanted to hear a second opinion on that, but mostly everything you said today was what I said yesterday in my live stream. My
we don't
thoughts
want to
about the
we don't want to
situation.
bore your audience with repetition here.
I mean, we cannot go too far. Also,
Yeah. No,
yeah,
I mean the problems with Hegseth. Um, at least one of the people, this Caldwell, who was marched out of the building, he was considered a strong supporter of Donald Trump's policies, but he was also a vocal opponent of starting a new war, particularly attacking Iran. And Tucker Carlson was suggested the reason they went and got rid of him was the neocon element within the Trump administration wants to get rid of those who don't want to who want to choose peace as opposed to going to war with Iran. So if that's true, then this is, I call that a troubling sign.
yes, yes, and this is more or less what I've been thinking. They are trying exactly to get rid of the people since the beginning with that woman. I forgot her name. I'm terrible with names.
Who,
Um,
Tulsi?
Tulsi Gabbard, exactly. Um since the beginning, they didn't want her to step in, and she is one of at least was one of very outspoken person against war. So
Yeah, 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 and she's in a. They're attacking her again. Nikki Haley. You know, there's she qualifies for the four-letter C word, and it's not cute. Okay, uh, she really is a despicable, awful human being, and um, and she would happily embroil the United States in a war if she could. I think, it's just really, unfortunately, my country, the United States, is just crazy. We're out of our minds. We're like a deranged drug addict, and we're going to do harm to ourselves and to others.
yeah, yeah. Almost a perfect connection with the mass shooting on Florida. Just these people mass shoot millions
Yes.
outside. Well, yeah. So yeah, let's move on to the big subject of the week, the death of the Pope. Um, I sent you uh, a a post. Well, actually, a oh dear God. Okay, I sent you a text. I don't know if you had the time to read, but perhaps later. It's a very nice analysis about succession of the Pope and what can it mean in this moment. But I would like to hear from you. I saw what you said on the judge as well. What do you think about this exact moment? And we have a new vacuum of power, even if for a small period of time, and plus the readjustment of the new policies from the new pope,
Yeah.
which I,
Um, it is. It's. I don't think the Pope matters, frankly. My own personal view. I think it's largely an irrelevancy, and there's no one. I'm not trying to insult Catholic friends and those who are devout believers, but I mean, step back and honestly say, what the hell did this guy do particularly over the last 3 years? He was infirm, uh, suffering from his advanced age. It was not a high functioning person. You know, you, you you, sit on your ass in a nice, comfortable room, You have people that work for you will write out statements saying, "Oh, I condemn the genocide of the Palestinians. Oh, the persecution of the Ukrainian church by the Zelensky government. That's wrong." Yeah, those are nice statements to put out. That's it. You make some trips somewhere where wave the hand and run long religious services, but what are you actually doing? And that's what I find troubling, that he was, because of his age and his infirmities, he wasn't able to go out there and lead the troops, as it were. um I think the coincidence of sort of his ill health and decline over the last 3 years, it coincides with the genocidal war in Palestine and the war in Ukraine and the threats of a new war with China and the threats of a new war with Iran. So, and people say, "Oh, I'm being unfair in my criticism." Well, so be it. But I think there's a lot more that someone in the position held by Pope Francis, El Papa, um, would have, for example, when they were persecuting and arresting the patriarch, the metropolitan, as he's called, in Kiev. Even though it's an Eastern Orthodox, and the Eastern Orthodox and Catholic churches have been split apart now for 1400 years. Um, it would have been a great gesture if the Pope had dispatched one of his senior officials who could actually walk and physically put up with the hardship to go stand in solidarity with that metropolitan, to stand for the Christians who are being persecuted. I mean, the Christians are getting attacked in Israel by the Israelis. They're prevented from worshiping at the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And just issuing a strong letter from Vatican. "Oh boy, we're really upset." Okay, take the paper, and when you run out of toilet paper, you can use that.
Yeah,
So
just
yeah,
recent.
why didn't they organize through the Catholic Charities a food relief column? Force force the Israelis to attack emissaries of the Pope. Create that kind of confrontation. Expose the Israelis for the genocidal murderers that they are. And he didn't do that. So, as I said, he's gone. It's like, you know, put your hand in a bucket of water, take your hand out of the bucket of water and look at the water. What's changed? Well, your hand's not there, but the water, is still the same. So Pope Francis has been pulled out of the water. We'll wait to see who gets in next, but it's not gonna happen overnight, unlikely. And we'll find out if they're gonna go the woke route, or if they're gonna uh, uh, but are they gonna hold up to uh, tradition and embrace the religious uh, heart of what the Catholicism is supposed to be about?
Yeah, the Pope Francis is a particular was a particularly how can I say, liked person in Brazil. Yet the Catholic Church in Brazil have been going down and down and down
Hmm.
for a long time already, and which opened a lot of space for the neo-Pentecostal churches.
Yeah, the Pentecostal evangelicals, they've grown quite a bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, there is one thing that I really hope for, and I mean, it's a lot of the fault for the church, for the Catholic Church for a long time already, because they really neglected, the less favored in Brazil. I can say like that, for a long time, and the evangelicals just embraced that,
Yeah, yeah.
prisoners, all that things. So hopefully they can get, as I was just telling you before we come. I'm not a very religious person myself, but I do see and understand today how bad it was for the country that this was neglected like that. So
Hmm.
hopefully we can get something that at least brings back the flame of the religion into the countries that they neglected, and to South America, Latin America in general. That's a very important piece of the Pope. I mean, it's a very important piece of glue to the communities.
Well, look, I mean, let's be candid about it. Um, Bergoglio is, I think, his uh, true name, was the first guy outside of Europe to be named a pope. So before it was sort of an exclusive European white guys club, you know. But for long, many years, it was Italian only. Then they got out the side of the Italians, and then you got a Polish pope with John Paul. Um, but this and Ratzinger, Germany, uh, wasn't he one? So the anticipation now is you could see somebody out of Asia or Africa, um, maybe the Middle East.
Yes.
Unfortunately, the whole thing is it's very much political, and Hollywood is doing its best to try to influence things. They've got um, there's a movie out this last year about a pope who dies and them trying to choose, they're going through the whole process of choosing the replacement. And, the surprise ending, they end up choosing a transgender. They didn't know it was a transgender. You know, it's
Really? No, really?
yeah, I'm not kidding.
Now I
Well,
have to. I don't know if I have to watch this movie,
no, no, don't
or
worry.
if I have
It
to get
is
away from it.
what it's doing is it's pretty slick, sophisticated propaganda because the they go through all of these machinations, and we got all these politics of different people striving to get ahead. You got one African uh, candidate who's sabotaged because he, surprise, surprise, an African who's engaged with sexual misconduct. Now, his problem was he was heterosexual. See,
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
he
that's
wasn't.
wrong.
Yeah, he wasn't buggering little boys. Okay, sorry, but
That's misconduct in there.
yeah,
I see.
that was out. We can't have that. A, a, a male pope who likes women, unheard of. So, yeah, I'm gonna burn in hell for that one. Uh, but
I'm pretty sure God, whatever, it's having fun watching this right now.
but anyway, it goes back and forth, and finally, the one voice that speaks up, that's the one voice of calmness, the voice of reason, the voice of peace. And then at the end, they find out, oh my God, you had a hysterectomy, which means you're a woman. And so, but what it was, the reason I say it's effective propaganda because it's there to it lulls you in, and so at the end you're going, yeah, man, transgender is just normal. It's no weird thing. Denying nature, yeah, that's not weird. Pretending,
Not weird
uh,
at all.
pretending that just because you have a penis doesn't mean you can't have a baby. Well, actually, it does, but you know, and it's
It's
like,
funny because nobody calls these people, anti science, or negationism or whatever.
show me
Denialist.
show me a transgender dog. Pick any breed you want. Um, this, but you know, anybody that's ever owned dogs, I own a male and a female. Yeah, they're completely different critters and completely different plumbing too, by the way. So, but this diverting from the whole discussion of the Pope's death. Um, I know in some sectors he's praised. Jeffrey Sachs had some very kind words to say about him. But again, just I'm looking at it for myself. Put a gun to my head and say, "Tell us the last thing that the Pope said about the war in Israel." You'd have to go ahead and kill me because I don't remember. And
I,
that's my point. It's not consequential. It's not the kind of thing that you remember that captures the world's attention.
I actually yesterday um, went through the video of his, last appearance. It was not even him that read the text because he was almost unable to speak.
Right.
But I found interesting. You made the point, of course. I would never look at that if it wasn't for that for the circumstance of his death. But it was interesting that, yeah, of course, they, oh yeah, our Palestinian brothers are suffering, our Israeli brothers are suffering, always, Ukrainians are suffering, all those things. But the big point that they, really spent some time speaking about was, I have a mosquito, was, the rise of anti-Semitism in the world. And I was like, is this guy talking about, Semitism like Palestine people being murdered, or anti-Semitism of people that are looking at Israel in a bad
Yeah.
way? So
People get the more heinous the crimes of the Zionist state, yeah, the more anger and animosity that's generated towards them. That's not because of some hatred of Judaism or Jews. That's a justifiable hatred of the Zionist insanity. Call it for what it is. It's despicable and disgusting. I mean, again, the entire concept. We're special. God chose us, not you. We've got the tight relationship with God. You're just like an adopted outsider. So you stay. I mean, that's the whole mentality. Um, that's not the message of Jesus, because we're just past Easter, and I don't mean to go theological on you, but the message of Jesus was his sacrifice, the death and resurrection, as you call it, some believe is a payment for sin, uh, is for everybody. It doesn't matter. And again, but it's something in human nature that we always want to have a little special club where we're the only members because we're special, and we'll only let certain people in. You see it in fraternities and sororities, secret societies. You got to have only a select group. Not everybody can be part of us. Yeah, that whole you want to call that whole mentality demonic? That's probably a good term for it. Instead of saying, "Hey, we want our doors open. We're going to treat everybody as equal." In other words, uh, they don't uh, they don't get treated worse or better. They get treated the same opportunity.
yeah, this uh, it really caught my attention that they really put an extra piece of attention on this part. So
Hmm.
let's hope for good days ahead.
We're going to
We
be
started the word.
we're going to be interesting days. We'll see how good they are.
Yeah, Chinese interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.